You didn't even know what I was going to ask yet. Who here is for sure doing CAM? You two? Chris? No. You're doing it. You already have lodging for it. Okay, Chris is doing it. We're going to peer pressure him. And then are you two thinking about training? Maybe even doing CIM, thinking about training for a marathon? Are you training for a marathon?
No, I'm here for the information about training.
I love it. I love it. Yes, Julie's doing CIM, so she's going to learn a lot of different things. Who here has ran a marathon? Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Who's ran multiple marathons? Who's ran like more than 10? Damn, look at you two. We should have you two up here talking too then. So we've done a lot of marathons in this group collectively. So CIM is actually going to be my number 10. So I'm pretty excited about hitting double digits, 10th on the road. And my first was back in 2017. And my first marathon I ever did, I did in just over 4.5 hours. It was 4 hours and 36 minutes. It was TCM. And then my 9th marathon was 3:18. So I don't say that to brag. I say it to start to paint a picture in your head a little bit of the progression here, okay? So you might immediately think that, oh, 4:36, 3:18, and it was just a straight shot. And I'm sure you can guess what I'm going to say here. It wasn't. It was very up and down, okay? I went from 4:36, 4:15, 4, and then 5:30, right? Of those first 4, there was one where I finished and I didn't hit some type of wall, either in the race or training, that, made it so that the race ended up with a lot of run walking at the end, okay? Then, after my 4th one, I actually got a job here at PRG and learned from Aaron, as well as a lot of other people that were in this gym that have done a bunch of marathons before. And going into my 5th marathon, I was arguably the best shape of my life, mentally, physically, everything, right? And I'm like, okay, I signed up for Wobegon Marathon. This was in 2022, I think. Went into that race just thinking, okay, this is going to be the one, right? And at mile 18, again, just wall immediately, and cramping in the legs, everything kind of went to shit. I immediately started doing the run walk thing again, mentally just broke down, right? And it was another unfortunate race, okay? After that, marathon number 6. This was a fun marathon because I went into it, and this training block specifically, not really caring anymore, to put it bluntly. I was very upset with how the last race went, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna have as much fun as possible. So for training, I hung out with a ton of people in the community. It became less about like hitting specific race numbers in training and more about who I was with and the effort I was putting forth into training, okay? The nutrition became more about eating enough and less about focusing on, eating the right thing, right, in training and in the race. And I actually went into that race, and my breakfast that morning was a Pop-Tart. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, as I've, done other things, right? But that marathon ended up being the best marathon I've ever ran. I PR'd that marathon by like 14 minutes, and it was my first time running under 3:45. And I got done with that as well. The last 10K, my knees didn't feel like they were going to explode. And I think I was running by like a week removed from that. Okay, and ready to train again. Mentally, I was feeling refreshed, right? 7, 8, 9, the progression continued like I was talking about, and I'm 3:17. And the last 3 marathons since grandma's, now, we always run into some hiccups, but for the most part, I've kind of carried a lot of what I learned in those first 6 and been able to be like, okay, something, started working, right? And again, I don't say this to brag. I say this, oh, great. I was really on a roll there, too. Let's just have you control this. Oh, no, it looks a little weird. I think it's fine. I say it because I wish someone would have told me some of these things like 7 marathons ago so that I could have avoided it, okay? And even actually on my last marathon build, if you follow me on Strava or see any of the stuff that I'm doing, you might have saw that it was a little rough, and that's because I forgot some of these different things, okay? If you're wondering why I picked 8 specific things I wish someone would have told me, it's because I originally picked 5, and my brain just doesn't really work that way, and I needed to pick a few more things, okay? So if I could boil it down specifically to things I want you all to think about when you're training for your marathon this fall, or thinking about training for a marathon, or honestly, if you're just getting into running, this could probably benefit you, okay? These are it. Number 1, 1 mile doesn't matter, but every mile does. Okay, what do I mean by that? If you are doing a workout, okay, and you cut 1 mile off the end of it because you're like extra tired, something's popping up in the knee, whatever, it's not the end of the world, okay? If you have one day where it's 5 a.m., you snooze your alarm, you decide, I'm going to not do my run today. It's not the end of the world, right? If you start doing those things every single day, that's when it starts to really matter, okay? Remember that. 1 mile doesn't matter, 1 rep doesn't matter. Every rep does, every mile does along the way, okay? The marathon specifically in training is about consistency, okay? That's how you're going to stay away from injuries and make sure that you have progression of some sort, whatever that looks like, okay? Number 2, something will for sure come up, okay? And this actually stems in very nicely to this because something will come up and you'll have to miss a workout, you'll have to miss a run, you will have to cut a long run short at some point, something will happen. Not every mile matters, okay? Sorry. 1 mile doesn't matter, but every mile does, okay? Remember that. It goes both ways. Number 3, I heard this actually at a real estate leadership conference I went to like a month and a half ago because I wanted to listen to someone that I look up to talk, okay? And I was like, this could apply to like running for sure. Hitting one goal is way less valuable than what you learn along the way. We've heard things like this tons of times, all right? Every single marathon I look back on of those 9 that I've done, I think more about the things that happen along the way to the finish line than I do the actual finish line. Okay, those are like the flashbulb memories that you remember, the finish line. Okay, what you learn along the way, that's what goes with you more than anything else. Okay, remember that as you are training, especially on the days in which you don't want to train. Number 4, I talked about this a little bit in my little visualization story. Focus on effort, not numbers. This is huge. Today's a great example of this. It's 88 degrees outside, and I can tell you that running, say, a 9-minute mile in 88 degrees versus running a 9-minute mile in 40 degrees feels a hell of a lot different, right? You're going to have days where stress is really getting to you, okay? 9-minute mile is going to feel a lot different than, 9 when stress isn't getting to you, right? Sleep's going to maybe be bad some days, right? So think about those things as well, okay? Number 5, this might be as important as the whole why thing with me, okay? Community, greater than. All right? It's my greater than symbol. Community. Find people to run with. There are situations, and if you're this person where running alone might make more sense for you, then don't listen to this portion, I guess. But I have found that when I find groups, tribes, as you will, to run with, to train with, to even just talk with about running goes better for me. Every race I've had that's gone well, it's because the people I'm training with, that's gone well. When I try to do things solo, it usually doesn't go as well. Okay. Number 6, the marathon doesn't owe you anything. All right? I mean, there's a few different things I mean by this. We can give you all the advice in the world, and we can train you, and we can give you this list of 8 things, right? And you can go into the marathon feeling super, super prepared. Respect the distance, okay? It doesn't owe you anything. Remember that in training. Just because training goes very well, just remember along the way, like again, the marathon itself, don't expect it just to necessarily go well. You need to also bring what you did in training to that race. Does that make sense? Okay. In addition to that, from like more of a psychological standpoint, marathon isn't going to fix anything either, okay? So I see a lot of runners that use running as ways of running away from things, essentially. I like to think about it as running towards something, personally, all right? Go on a run every week without headphones and just be in your head. Ask yourself a question at the beginning of the run. Force yourself, to think about why you're running, really, okay? Be in your head a little bit. Get deep on that. And understand that you owe yourself things, but the marathon does not owe you anything, okay? Number 7, the marathon doesn't get easier, you get stronger. Another kind of cliche, but I really like it as well. Every single marathon I've done has been hard. Every single training block has been hard. They have never been easy, right? That's why we do it. Everyone in this room, you're here for a reason. You like to do hard things. You like to challenge yourself, okay? So remember that as well. The marathon doesn't get easier, you get stronger. Right? So again, that kind of goes into the respecting the distance thing. And then number 8, everyone, we get to do this. Oh wow, that was epic. Yo, that should be a reel on Instagram. Dang, that would have been sick. Remember that, okay? We get to do this. This is like my tagline for my company. It's one of my taglines for my company. Keely and I have a podcast, shameless plug if you want to find it. The 2 is a number 2. It's on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube, okay? There's a lot of people that would kill to do what we're doing. There's a lot of people that would kill to run 1 mile. All right? Remember that. Okay? No one's making you do this. You get to do it. It should be fun.